More details are emerging on the U.S. China trade deal, as well as other potential agreements happening this week. Joining us now, United States Trade Representative, Ambassador Jamieson Greer. Mr. Ambassador, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. How was your weekend? Anything going on? Do anything interesting recently?
I had a nice little tour of Switzerland and had a lot of delicious chocolate, among other things.
Wow.
You can't avoid the...
They got some good chocolate there, don't they?
Yeah. We had Secretary Besson on yesterday, and I just asked him about the tone initially. He seemed to think that it was, whether it was the venue or whatever, that it was very cordial and conciliatory. You describe it the same way?
Yes, I agree with that description. As the Secretary mentioned, and as I've mentioned, there was a lot of lead-up work to these events, so by the time we got there, both sides were ready to deal. The Swiss hosted us in a way that we were able to get to brass tacks really quickly and come to an agreement.
A lot of work remains, obviously, and I'm ready to look at this totally half full, but not everyone is taking that viewpoint. We're hearing the sort of the same tired, you start a fire as an arson, and then the arsonist puts it out, that it didn't need to be done this way. The tariffs were put in too quickly and without enough thought, and now you taking them off is not a victory. Is there anything to that? I mean, there are things that need to be done over the next 90 days where we would say this was absolutely amazing for what the United States got out of the negotiations. That still remains to be seen, does it not?
That's exactly right. I mean, we're really involved in a two-step process here with China, and frankly with a lot of other countries as well. You'll recall when the president imposed his reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd, including on China, he very quickly moved to a pause on reciprocal tariffs with countries who were negotiating with us, and those countries were able to go to a 10% rate during that pause. China was the only one that retaliated. And then, they escalated very quickly. We escalated to match it, and they decided that they actually did want to talk to us and come to the table. So we went down to a 10% and a pause of 90 days to talk to them. I mean, this is the plan, and it's working, and now China's part of that plan.
Trying to figure out how to bring down the non-tariff barriers seems like that could take 90 days just trying to do that. And I didn't ask Secretary Besson, I meant to. But we didn't have time. Any mention of the theft of IP over the years in China, and that's unacceptable. Dumping. There's a lot. We have a lot of beefs with China at this point.
That's exactly right. And I'm a veteran of some of these disputes from the past, and many of them are ongoing. The focus of this agreement and the talks over the weekend were really to address the current escalated situation, which was tantamount to an embargo, which was not sustainable for either side. So we're able to get to a position where the United States still has substantial tariffs on China. China retains some, not nearly as much as we did, but we're in a position where we can actually talk. We can do it constructively. And to your point, taking down non-tariff barriers, of which there are many. China's the largest challenge by far on that front. That will take time. But the Chinese, they want to talk about it, we want to talk about it, and we'll see where that leads.
The threat of 30% tariffs in 90 days, is that enough to ensure that the Chinese will continue to cooperate?
Well, there's a mutual interest in doing this. I think everyone saw the reports over the past couple of weeks about Chinese export orders going down, Chinese factories idling, and in fact, other factories and facilities in China going for lease, and people temporarily laying off workers in China. So it's a challenging situation for them. And of course, we don't want to have an embargo with China. So there was mutual interest in getting to a place where we could have some kind of trade with them that made sense for both parties while still protecting the United States, retaining our reciprocal tariffs and the leverage that we need to potentially get some very good outcomes in the future.
Ambassador, one of the things that I imagine is going to come up is, India obviously is hoping to make a deal. Japan is hoping to make a deal. Others are hoping to make deals, and hoping to make deals that are going to inure to their benefit, meaning against China in many ways. In terms of the timing of all of this, do you anticipate that you will see a bevy of deals before you ultimately continue even negotiating with China? How is that going to work, just from a brass tacks standpoint?
Well, all of this is happening in parallel. So after I do these TV hits this morning, I'm going for my standing call with the Indian Commerce Minister, who's my counterpart on trade matters. Then this afternoon, I'm flying to Korea to meet with the Korean Trade Minister over the next coming days, as well as trade ministers from many other Asian countries who are gathering for APEC meetings. So all of this is happening in parallel, and we are happy to move as quickly as other parties are willing to move. Everyone saw the UK move very quickly. In Switzerland, in between all the meetings with the Chinese, I met with the Swiss president. They want to accelerate things. So we're moving as quickly as we possibly can with folks who want to be ambitious.
Ultimately, though, do you think a minimum 10% tariff almost across the board everywhere is something that the American public should expect to understand, and maybe our counterparts understand?
That's exactly right. The president campaigned on this. He campaigned on a 10% global tariff and somewhat higher tariffs on China. And frankly, that's about where we are right now. So that's one promise fulfilled. But that doesn't mean that we can't find ways to accommodate supply chains with us and trusted partners. You can see from the UK deal, there were critical things related to automotive and discussions about pharmaceuticals and semiconductors. We just want to make sure we have secure supply chains. We get as much production back home as possible. And having a 10% global tariff, that's going to help reduce the trade deficit, which is the primary driver of the whole program, but also reshore and create fair trading conditions with our partners overseas.